We have a couple of clips from the mother of all caravans and maybe just one more bite coming right up. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Spring with Autumn on your Saturday night. I know it's kind of late, but I just thought I'd get in just really quickly. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to the loyal patrons, subscribers, and of course, the viewers like yourself. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, thank you so much for tuning in for this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I want to say hello to Jermaine G and Tyrant Spain TDOA. I hope you guys are doing well out there. And thank you so much for coming in on this Saturday night. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So I have Jermaine G and Tyrant Bang TDOA. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I just have a couple of bites here. I was going to do this. Whole thing on AI, but I think I'm going to save that. If you guys have anything you'd like to add or to share, I mean, I'm all about the AI sightings or whatever you want to call it these days, whatever you want to call it these days. But it's definitely out there. So we're going to go into. We have a couple of bites to do. We're going to talk about this just briefly about this migrant caravan. It just seems like sometimes these appearances of these different groups that keep showing up at the border. It's almost like it's elusive because they're here today, and they're gone like poof. So I'm going to show you some footage of that and see how that's being handled from border to border, and you'll have some imagery on that, as well as I have a piece on the diminishing, or dare I say, make it up a word here, the diminishment of the middle class, and that's going to come out of Zero Hedge. So I'm going to be sharing those articles with you guys on this segment, and thank you guys so much for those of you who tuned in on the my rant the other night. So we'll get into that. So I think what we're going to start first with, we'll start with the migrant caravans, and they're apparently they had broken through on their way here to the States. So, and then they've got a bit of interesting, they've got bringing symbolism with them, their own form of symbolism with them, which, you know, I'm sure you guys have some opinions about that. So, and I'll probably put a link out before the end of the stream if you want to chime in on any of this. So as always, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we'll go to our first, go to the first liner. Also, if I have time, I might give a little bit on, there's some interesting finds because I do have some references from the fourth industrial revolution that's written by Klaus Schwab, and you might be curious about some of those things, or maybe you have some things to share you might want to share. And you can also use the community tab for that, or you can just email me and I can share it, on one of these live streams. Hello, Luciano. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. And also, by the way, for Joseph Francis Burton, if you're out there, I have posted, I did post that clandestine Zoom call with Biden and the civil rights leaders. So that's there. So, just to save your ears a little bit, I think I recommended it. If you want to start at at 38, I almost had it measured. Start at measure 38. Start at 38 and go all the way to the end, because that way you'll get a chance to hear, to me, the most poignant things that were said and the things that I cross-reference. And I might even play a little bit of it for you here. So we're going to go with the RT. The RT on the migrant caravans. There you go. I don't know. So if you guys, I did that. It was a little back, but it wasn't that far. I think after the election that he posted that it got leaked. It was supposed to be not. It was not supposed to be leaked per se. Not supposed to be recorded at all. So let's first go to the migrant caravans. And then I might even cross-reference that Zoom call. I'll fit it in somewhere, but it's not a big deal. It's definitely going to be out there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I'm still working on the Discord. I'm trying to do that so that I don't throw you guys off if I have like a weird like name or, something that's not exactly the same as, what's here on Black Spring with Autumn. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you guys for the RT. And you're going to get to see those clips will also come from Twitter as well. Thank you guys so much for lending me your ear on this Saturday. So I'm going to give you full screen on this one. And hello again to Luciano and Joseph Francis Burton. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So we're going to go with the RT article on the migrant caravans. All right. So from the top, this is from RT. And according to this, migrant caravan breaks through Mexican police as Biden blasted for claiming he hasn't had time to visit the border. Now, there's some people going to fact check him. Some people took some time and did some fact checking with him on this. All right, so here you have what they've captioned on the bottom. This is migrants and asylum seekers walk in a caravan headed to U.S. border in Tapachula, Mexico. Okay, so I'm going to keep going here. According to this, a migrant caravan made up of thousands has broken through Mexican security forces attempting to stop them from making it to the U.S. border on the heels of U.S. President Joe Biden saying he lacks the time to actually go there. Thousands of migrants gathered in Tapachula near Mexico-Guatemala border and are now making their way to Mexico City and eventually the U.S. border. Among them are people fleeing Haiti, Venezuela, and multiple other Latin American countries. Department of Homeland Security officials previously stated they were keeping an eye on the caravan as Mexican officials have tried to prevent the group from making its journey. Footage on Saturday of the caravan making their journey on foot hit social media and showed thousands breaking through Mexican law enforcement officials equipped with riot gear and attempting to build a wall to block the migrants. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. This is from a Twitter account where it talks about the caravan is arriving. Law enforcement is mobilizing to meet them. So I'll go ahead and show you that one right here. Give me, if it's not 5x5, you can let me know and I'll try to improve that. Okay, it's only 10 seconds, so one more time for the people in the back. Okay, so there you go. It looks like there are forces there. All right, and we continue on. It says breaking. The migrant caravan in Mexico encounters Mexico's at INAMI_MX forces. # border crisis. You know, it wasn't too long ago that they denied that there were caravans. Do you guys remember that? Just saying. Just saying. For all of us conspiracy theorists. You see, the conspiracy theorists versus the propagandists, right? Because there's not much news left, right? But let me know what you guys think.
Pensé que se iban a venir hacia este carril. Ahorita van a agarrar calor.
Okay, so that was exhibit number 2. So we'll continue here. All right, so according to this, people marching in the caravan held signs with the messages such as Joe Biden is for all and we come in peace. Some have also carried an American flag with no stars, telling the media following the migrants, it means America is for everyone. All right, so here you have an example, or you have an image of, let's see if I can get it. It's loading. There's no sound here, so not to worry. So what you have is the image here of this flag with no stars. I mean, this is just, to me, this is like the epitome of, what is it? The saying, the cliche, all the world is a stage, the world is a stage. It just seems like this is just too. These people are pretty educated to know, to take, to have the notion to take, or the gall, or the unmitigated gall to take the stars off. They have to have some kind of perspective, right, in order to remove the stars. I said that's political. That's a political statement. That's propaganda. That's not our flag. It's not. It's just not. I can't say that it is. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. All right. So then, it keeps on going. So you have something from disclosed.tv. Now, large migrant caravan has left Tapachula Mexico for the U.S. So I'm just going to put this is like a free-ended poll. I mean, do you guys actually think that's going to happen? Do you guys think that they're going to be handled the same way? Will there be a stampede at the U.S.-Mexico border? Will there be? Easy with the labels, old head dudes. I thank you for the support, but easy. So I'm going to play the crowd. You know, it just looks. You know, we have people in and out on the stage. Then they just kind of like poof, dissolve into thin air. Okay, so one more time. So you're only getting 11 seconds on this one, but this is, yeah, this looks like, I don't know. I'm going to keep reading here, or keep playing here. Okay, it looks like they just, to me, they look like protesters, or they don't look like they're in distress, or I'm just saying, just giving a little call, I'm just trying to follow the narrative. If I follow the narrative, these people, what was the line? They just want a better life, or, but they just don't seem like they are worried about what their chances are. They just don't seem like they're worried about it. I'm just saying. So let's keep going here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So I'm going to get out of that. So let's keep going here. All right. Enriqueo Mujica, the reported leader of the caravan, has called on Biden to do more for immigration reform and blamed poor conditions and lack of opportunities in Mexico for the thousands of people that have overwhelmed the U.S.-Mexico border for months. Quote, what Mexico should do, like every country, is make sure they do their share. I'm not sure I understand that. Money is not going to solve the problem. Money thrown in governments like Mexico, end quote. He told Fox News' Griff Jenkins, quote, they, meaning the migrants, should be given papers here, the opportunity to work here, because a lot of them don't want to go to the U.S. because Mexico is a good place to live and work, end quote. So that's from Griff Jenkins. I'm not for sure, but let's hear it from him. Sometimes I'm not sure if these quotes are, if they've been translated, and sometimes they are awkward because they are translated. So let's hear it.
What Mexico should do, like every country, is to make sure that they do their share of the beating. Money is not going to solve the problem. Money throwing it to governments like Mexico, where they put people from the south border to the northern border, is not the solution. They should give them papers here. They should give them an opportunity to work here, because a lot of them don't want to go to the U.S., but the Biden administration, with this administration, it's like holding them like cattle. First they come to this jail, then they go to the northern border. And we're asking them, Mexican government, to give them papers to have a choosing, because Mexico, it's a good place to live, to work, and they're not.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep going here. So you got a chance to hear. This is the leader, and that was the Griff Jenkins. I thought that was his, or either Fox's translation, but no, this was their leader, who I thought I understood. But I'll keep going here. We'll chop it up later. I'll put the link out there. Migrants have said they are not interested in violent confrontations, despite pushing their way through the Mexican forces on Saturday, while DHS officials have warned that many people will likely be apprehended and then deported. The Biden administration's approach to the border has come under intense scrutiny since he took office. Border Patrol agents are dealing with record-breaking numbers of migrant crossings, and reports from the border indicate many are released into the U.S. after they are apprehended, with orders to appear in court at a later date. Detentions of undocumented migrants at the border have passed 1.7 million for the fiscal year of 2021, an all-time recorded high. The caravan and the record-breaking numbers follow Biden's claim at a CNN town hall this week that he does not have the time to actually visit the U.S. southern border, despite the chaotic crisis there and the fact that he has not been there once during his presidency. Quote, "I've been there before. I know it well. I guess I should go down," end quote. Biden said about a potential visit. Quote, "The whole point of it is I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of time to get down," end quote. It sounds like a leisure event or something. Yeah, like check out the museum showing, they're showing, pop art this week. All right, so here again, so it looks like he got fact checked here. This is from Mike Mimoli. He said that POTUS again said last night he's quote been there before when asked about going to the border. Last time I found where he went close was 2008 campaign trip to New Mexico. We landed in El Paso and drove along for a stretch. So here you have an imagery here. I guess that's the last time. So that's that's coming in some time past, right? Yeah, nice like a memory. Yeah, I remember being there. Yeah, that part. Numerous Texas officials have blasted Biden's quote, "no time," end quote, excuse. Quote, "Biden could secure the border and resolve this crisis in a matter of weeks, but instead he doesn't have the time to even visit the border of the United States. The United States he swore an oath to protect." Texas Republican Rep. Chip Roy told Daily Caller about Biden. Republican Governor Greg Abbott's press secretary similarly criticized the president's non-involvement in the issue, saying, quote, "Americans deserve better," end quote. Footage of the latest migrant caravan head to the border has only fueled further criticism of Biden's handling of the border crisis. Okay, so here you got more people chiming in. I guess the pundits that are chiming in. Robbie Starbuck says this invasion is on the way to America. Will it enrich our country or be a net drain on our economy? Plus, push more of our citizens out of work. Will it make our country safer or less safe? The answer is simple, and our response as a nation should be clear. #close the border. And you have more from Miranda Devine. It says, "Coming to a town near you, care of Biden Air, landing in the dead of night. Don't you dare ask about it, or they'll brand you a racist and sick the FBI on you." And one more from Bob DeCastro, who says, "Whoa." So this is what you have from RT.com. I think RT's doing some good work over there. I think they're going to give us more than what we might find on some of the other networks, or dare I say media. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am going to put the link out just for kicks. So if you feel like picking up the phone on your Saturday, see who's home. Okay. So I'm going to keep going here. But before I do, I'm going to take a quick break. And I will be right back. Looks like they've changed some things around here. All right, so I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'll be right back with our story from a headline from Zero Hedge. It says, "Goodbye, middle class. 50% of all U.S. workers made $34,612.04. I guess that was this year, or is it 2020? All right, so we will be right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And so we're going to go ahead and, if you guys want to, tag in on any of this, you can do that at any time. But I'm going to go ahead and move us on to the next segment. And it talks a little bit about the diminishing of the middle class. And then we'll go, and because Joseph Francis Burton is here and he endured my rant/report from the Politico article on the HBCUs versus the HSI institutions, I'm going to play that clip from that clandestine, what I call clandestine Zoom call of Biden. And you can hear what he was saying about the minorities specifically and the way I was cross-referencing that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment. And we're going to go on to our second liner of the evening. And some of you may have heard it before. Maybe they even call you a conspiracy theorist if you said this once upon a time. Okay, so according to this, it says goodbye middle class. 50% of all U.S. workers made $34,612.04 or less last year. So yes, I was correct. 2020, that is. All right, so this is their penmanship under Tyler Durden. It says if we keep going down this path, soon we won't have much of a quote middle class in quote at all. When I first started writing about the economy many years ago, I often wrote about the tens of millions of quote working poor in quote Americans that were enduring so many hardships. But at this point, most of the nation now falls into the quote working poor in quote category. That isn't because wages haven't been going up. Little by little, wages have been incrementally rising year after year, but meanwhile, the cost of living has been absolutely soaring. Paychecks haven't even come close to keeping up with inflation, and this has been eviscerating the middle class. Today, the majority of the country is in constant, quote, survival mode, end quote, financially, and that isn't going to change anytime soon. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. It says, when I was growing up, retailers that catered to the middle class did exceptionally well. My mother was constantly taking me and my siblings to JCPenney's and Sears. And it seemed like that was where virtually everyone shopped. But now such retailers are rapidly going extinct. Today, the retailers that are doing well are those that cater to the very bottom of the economic food chain, Walmart, dollar stores, etc., or those that cater to the very top of the economic food chain. And that is because there isn't much in between those two extremes anymore. The Social Security Administration has just released the final wage statistics for 2020, and they are extremely alarming. According to the figures that they have given to us, the median wage for 2020 was just $34,612.04. By definition, 50% of wage earners had net compensation less than or equal to the median wage, which is estimated to be $34,612.04 for 2020. It is really depressing to think that half of all U.S. workers made $34,612.04 or less last year. That is less than $3,000 a month, and that is before taxes. Needless to say, trying to survive in a major U.S. city on that kind of income is not easy in today's economic environment. Of course, $34,612.04 would have been a very nice yearly income back in 1960, because back then the cost of living was much lower. The following comes from an article authored by M.N. Gordon. Okay, we have a citing here. In 1960, for example, a gallon of gas cost 31 cents per gallon. Similarly, in 1960, a gallon of milk cost $1 per gallon. Currently, the average price of gas and the average price of milk are $3.28 per gallon and $3.68 per gallon, respectively. That's upwards of a 958% increase for gas and 268% increase for milk over the last 60 years. Back in 1960, you could buy an entire house in a nice middle-class neighborhood for $34,612.04. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to dream that number. Not that that's not my aim or where I want to stay in life, but just, it's cited so many times here. Today, that would barely be a down payment on a dilapidated shack in many parts of the country. In recent weeks, I have frequently pointed out that there are millions of jobs available in the U.S. right now, but the vast majority of them are highly undesirable because they pay, quote, working poor, end quote, wages. So many people out there are working as hard as they can, and they still can't make ends meet. In fact, one recent poll discovered that 59% of Americans that make less than $50,000 a year have experienced, quote, serious financial problems in the past few months. The poll showed a sharp income divide, with 59% of those with annual incomes below $50,000 reporting serious financial problems in the past few months, compared with 18% of households with annual incomes of $50,000 or more. As I have discussed so many times over the years, we have gotten to the point where most of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. And when you are living paycheck to paycheck, all it takes is one bad break to push you into financial distress. Sadly, things are going to get even worse for ordinary Americans in the coming months because inflation continues to rise very aggressively. Inflation accelerated in September with consumer price pressures across America showing no sign of easing ahead of all important holiday shopping season. Consumer prices increased 5.4% from the year ago period, slightly faster than their 5.3% increase the previous month, or on par with the increases in June and July. Needless to say, those numbers actually greatly understate what we are facing, because the way inflation is calculated by the government has changed dozens of times over the years. As I'm constantly reminding my readers, if inflation was still calculated in the way that it was back in 1980, it would already be well into double-digit territory. In other words, the sort of inflation that we faced during the Jimmy Carter era is already here. And CNN just admitted that prices, quote, aren't coming back to earth anytime soon, end quote. If prices continue to rise much faster than paychecks do, the middle class will just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Sadly, politicians seem determined to hasten the demise of the middle class by pushing millions more Americans out of decent paying jobs in the months ahead. But in the process, they will also be creating critical staff shortages. For example, just consider what just happened at a hospital, Lewiston, Maine. The administrators of Central Maine Healthcare in Lewiston, Maine, enacted a mocktail policy demanding all employees take the mocktail, but more than 250 employees refused to comply before the deadline. The employees were subsequently fired. Unfortunately for patients, about 170 of those employees were needed to staff the intensive care unit. Consequently, the hospital had to shut down its ICU because of the firings. Because it lost so many employees, the hospital plans on cutting intensive care beds by 50% and reducing the number of medical surgical beds by 40%, the Bangor Daily News reported. Isn't that nuts? Of course, the same type of scenario is playing out at hospital after hospital all over the country right now. And you can't just hire random people off the streets to be doctors and nurses, because it takes many years of training to become a doctor or a nurse. So let us hope that we don't have to deal with any sort of major health crisis this winter, because our medical system would become overwhelmed very rapidly. These are such ominous times for our economy, and these are such ominous times for our nation as a whole. In the months ahead, there will be more inflation, more shortages, and more questionable decisions by our leaders. Events are truly beginning to spiral out of control, and America will never be quite the same ever again. All right. So once again, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. So that was Out of Zero Hedge. But I mean, I wouldn't say that that's news. It's nice to have someone put things into a perspective that we are, a current perspective, and not deny, what's actually going on, because you won't get that out of the, dare I call them, mainstream. You won't get that, because people have been denying for months, that there would be a problem with inflation. They've been denying it, but they deny everything. Deny. And they're constant. But there's only one group of people that seem to be, you can be right and wrong at the same time, but not everybody have the privilege to do that. So I'm going to keep going, and this is going to go, I'm going to take a quick little break, and then I'm going to show you that 38 minutes with Biden basically talking race relations and dare I say representation. I'm kind of cross-referencing what I was talking about from the Politico article, in which it was entitled that Biden was pitting the Hispanic serving institutions against the HBCUs. So we'll be right back right after this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn on your Saturday night. All right, thank you so much. And hello to Reasonability. Thank you so much for coming in. So in order to cross-reference the Politico article that I mentioned, that I did a stream in the dark, the stream in the dark, and I cross-referenced some of these examples. So you can hear it. You don't have to take my word for it. You can hear it from Biden himself. So I'm going to take you there. And I just want to read a couple of comments before we go there. And Joseph Francis Burton says, I know for certain some are getting jobs. Let's see, I think I may be a little bit behind on this. Yes, I met about 24 giving roofing jobs in Nashville. I met them in the airport. And one more, Joseph Francis Burton says, about 1970, my grandpa bought a house in Lakewood, California, for $20,000, working as an appliance salesman at Sears. Single income family. We are now stuck in 2-income households. Hi, Miss Latin Patriot. How are you? And Old Head Do says, one would think all of these people out of work would be great for small business. And Reasonability's here. Hello, as well as Miss Latin Patriot. So for Joseph Francis Burton, or for people that have no idea what clandestine Zoom call I'm referencing, I'm going to show it to you right now. Hi, Backyard Politics. How are you? So this is that Politico article that I referenced. It was, I'll put it in the link, or I'll put it on the community tab, but I'm going to take you to that clip, and hopefully you will not be. It's kind of hard to listen to it. I mean, I've listened to it a few times, but for some of you, it might be your first time. Hello, DJ Vision Barnett. Thank you so much for coming in. So it's just I just started at the last 38 minutes because I think, there at some point before he started talking the second time, they were basically telling him, are you serious about what you're promising here, what you've promised here? So he gets a little cantankerous, and so we'll just go there. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let me know what you think. Like I said, I put the link out there, I believe. If you want to chime in on any of this, or if you want to cross-reference or, back, digress a little bit from the article from Politico with him supposedly pitting the groups against each other. But I don't think he was pitting them against each other. I think that's what he's always done, and that's what he's good at doing. So I'm going to go there right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hello to Backyard Politics. Thank you for coming in. So I'll try not to mess around here too much on this one. Whoops. Do I have a caller? It's Old Head Deuce.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
All right. Came by to salute the great work. You're doing great work, youngin. Great work. I'm serious. I can't handle the news. I don't watch none of that. You guys are the news.
Well, I haven't heard that in a long time, and I'll take that as a huge compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was messing with Joseph in the chat about the Afghans in Texas.
Really?
I didn't know that. I said they gonna move to the projects, or I mean, what kind of
Is that a question for me?
Just your opinion. I mean,
okay. What I would say that they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not something that they've been presented with.
Yeah, but as a veteran, some of those guys probably should get veteran pension. They're qualified, PTSD, all that. And I'm just saying that.
Are you referring to the
some of the Afghans probably. What they did, I mean, they did veterans. I mean, what can you say? And it's a hard pill to swallow for some. Or they might not agree with them even coming here, but they couldn't stay there, and they did veterans type service. I'm not talking about the guys that, I'm talking about the interpreters and things like that. Some of those guys put in actual. I mean, they're veterans. They fought alongside the United States.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea in which, what that looks like in terms of, how they're going to.
Yeah.
The way they've obliterated with the way everything's, everything, is, it's like these people honor no rules or no anything right now. Nothing surprises me right now. But I would think that, and you're right, they may end up getting more than people that have actually served. They may.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, but
we don't know what they're getting.
Yeah, but they will flash that and flaunt that in your face. Like you got a caravan coming. And it's like, okay, they flaunt that in your face, and then they get here, and then they just, what happens?
I have no idea, because somebody, I don't know if you follow, what's her name, Megan McGlover, she asked that question. She was asking that question, like, what happened to all the Haitians that were under, all the photo ops, and what happened to them? Where are they?
Oh, they send them back. Anybody in Haiti ain't said, hey, I ain't seen my, what I mean? I don't know. That's wild to me.
Yeah, I don't know. But it just seems like, and and I haven't said this, but even there is a man, okay, I've seen this man before, like in different parts of the city in Southern California. And he to me, he's posing like, he looks like he's a homeless guy. And I've seen him in different regions, in different, like, how does he travel so, so freely? Like, it's like these people kind of show up, like all the world's a stage. I said that earlier. And I meant that, because it seems like these people show up, like, are people being, are they funding, are they sponsoring these crises? Literally the participants, or, you know what I mean? It's strange.
You have to find a social worker that works with downtown and some of these major cities. They probably know something a little bit more than we do.
Well, and here's another theory that I once heard. I once heard that other people, like other cities, would actually, now I'm paraphrasing, something like they would actually give their homeless tickets to San
I've,
Diego.
I've heard that
Uh,
because if you were homeless and say I remember I think in Baltimore, like some people were freezing to death outside, things like that. Yeah, it's terrible, but they need to open up a shelter, open up. They need to give people. I'm sorry, Autumn. The jobs left 20 years before you were born. Okay,
and that's
all right.
assuming you knew my age.
Come on now, you gotta get.
And you could be, and you would probably be correct, or you might be in the ballpark, or you might be, or
You
you might
gotta
be a
be
little bit out.
2022. You gotta be 2022. I'm saying so.
Eh, let's stay out of that. Let's stay out of that territory.
You good? You good? You ain't no 52. I'll tell you that.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. You good? Life is every day is cake for you, buddy.
Well,
But hey, you my favorite conservative, man. I used to love the rants because they were so pure, man. And then you move and you change.
But but I said, I said, easy on the labels because I just don't know what,
You don't want to be known for ranting.
I say I have conservative values because that's the closest thing. That's the most relative, set of ideals and values.
Let's just face it. It keeps you civilized.
But I'm certainly not a liberal. I'm certainly not a progressive. And I'm not any of those things.
I don't have a problem. Yeah. But look. Most conservatives are annoying.
How do you mean? Like, okay, tell us about that.
Most conservatives, the dictators. I like ABL. He earned my respect with some of his, but he ducks a lot of issues. And then there's others online that they're annoying. Most conservatives of the same race as you and I are annoying. And then I don't want to get into other conservatives. They're really annoying. But you talk about conservative values, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with it.
I didn't do some kind of litmus test or anything, to give, to get myself, to import, to start, piling in or,
Okay.
I didn't say, oh, well, that works. Well, let me do a search on things that I agree with. I never.
But you're not cynical or any of those things.
I can be.
You can. Hey.
Depends on what you're talking about.
But your rants are vicious. I know you can be, but I mean, you're trying to make sense of you try to make sense of things.
Try to make sense out of nonsense.
Yeah. Your show's thought provoking. It really is.
Well, and then I appreciate it. And the thing is like sometimes it's just I heard another YouTuber, was it Roy Potter, who says like maybe it was a quote from his late wife, stop trying to apply logic to things that don't have logic. And
logic.
That makes a lot of sense. And I try not to do that anymore. I just try to say we have enough evidence to say that this does not make sense. How about that? Can you?
Like my aunt would say, you got good. Like my aunt would say, you got good sense. That must come from conservative values.
Well, hang on just a second. It looks like I've got Miss Latin Patriot here, and she's given a very nice comment to the channel. Thank you so much, Miss Latin Patriot. How are you?
Hi, thanks for allowing me to speak. Old Head
Juice. Yeah, salute.
Nice to meet you too. I think that it would be awesome if you started doing like your own thing on your own channel, because you know how like you said some conservatives are kind of annoying, but a lot of people will go to like you find your needs with other people, you know what I mean? So they can relate differently. Like you might not be able to relate to those other channels, but you can appreciate Black Spring with Autumn. So I think that if you start making your own content and like talking about the things like that Black Spring with Autumn does, I think that maybe we can start changing or making an impact on like the culture, because a lot of times our culture is dictated by the arts, like movies and music, you know, and just putting like your opinion and your point of view of the world. I think that would be really awesome, and I would subscribe to you. If you can put your link in the chat, I'll subscribe to you.
Yeah, I'm not really conservative like that. More of a to be honest, I'm like a revolutionary. Like I just like to, I support any young person thinking for themselves. And this fact that she's a
Exactly. You can.
conservative,
Mhm.
she just gets a grain of her thoughts, but she thinks for herself. Her thoughts are her thoughts. Her rants are pure.
And do
You-
that.
uh,
Talk about what you think is important, you know? Like just being able to have free thought, because a lot of our free thought seems to be being censored,
Yeah, like I said, when they
you
took
know?
the job 20 years before she was born, I mean, they took the crayons out of schools. Your creativity and thought is not promoted. It's not like the 70s where there's music coming out, people are dancing and all this different stuff. It's not good times right now. And the reason is because of the policies out here. You know,
Policies that are not benefiting actual citizens.
yeah, it's not working the way they're saying it's supposed to work. And then you ask them about it, they don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, I think the Constitution is supposed to be the supreme law of all the United States, and it's being bastardized. Anyways, I better let you guys go, and I appreciate it. And Old Head Deuce, please consider starting your own content. Thank you.
Oh, I'm actually, man, I'm a notorious troll online. I can't do that. They'll roast me. Not they'll roast me, but it'll get, yeah. I don't know. I might do it. I have a channel. You can go.
Do something. Please put it in the chat so I can subscribe, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Latin Patriot. It's nice to hear from you. Okay. So yeah, that's very interesting. That's an interesting idea for you, Old Head Deuce. I mean, I would certainly come over and you know, I'd like to hear your perspective on anything, you know, anything specific. Or I had a comment from Backyard Politics. How are you? He says that I find liberals and progressives far more annoying. Yeah, I would. Yeah, it's a little bit. It's just because I think we're just dripping so much everywhere with them dominating cultures, you know, and dominating institutions everywhere. They run the roost, or they're controlling the narrative on so many things, and you know, I guess
they're running wild.
Go ahead.
They're running wild. I mean, it's crazy. It should be. I mean, unemployment's already high. I mean, all the problems are high, and then they put these things forward to make it even worse. And then you ask somebody, not saying anything.
No, everybody. I mean, not everybody. When I say I'm being, that's huge. But I'm saying that you don't see, you know, the current administration. You don't see Biden on TV or people poking and prodding with him like anything like the previous, you know, administration. You know, like the comments that he makes, you know, there's just no. It's just very. It seems a very indifferent. And I do agree with the statement that the reporter said that, yeah, Americans do deserve better. Yeah. But this is what we were told to be quiet, shut up and be quiet, or else. Then that's what we're being told. That's what we're being told on many levels, in many instances right now, whether it's the school board, crayons in the classroom, or, you know.
You know, I have a cousin. He used to work for the school district. He said the problem, or he's worked for the MTA, the transit, right? The problem with the MTA is the workers are riding the bus. Everyone's riding the bus, but the CEO of the MTA is going home in a Mercedes.
This is true. This is very true.
You know,
but that's, you know, where is it going to change? I mean, we're on tap for even more of that, or worse. You know, it's survival mode. I think that article from Zero Heads was right on. I really do. So I don't know. How do we?
Well,
but here's the other thing. I just want to insert this really quickly. I find it interesting that and I'm going back to the migrant caravans situation. It's like just before every midterm, the caravans show up. I remember
Yes.
2018. 2018 was the same kind of
Yes,
business.
I don't see something like that as being it's hyped up, and then it's like a wave, and then it comes, right? Every couple of, you know what I mean? But you're right. You are absolutely correct. And I think it needs to stop. It's going to turn into it's a potential catalyst for what's the word I'm looking for? They need to stop that, okay? Because it could be used by the powers that be in many different ways, you know. Does that make sense?
Sure. And it's
It
people
pop off
were
behind it.
crying, but this was a part of the rhetoric or the. Sorry about that. It's a part of the rhetoric. You had. They had the Black community crying tears over immigration, and just without any consciousness or of any kind of consequence, But what are they saying? What are they saying now? And that's where I'm going to take us into that to the administration's ideas on how minorities better coexist with each other. And it's impossible. It's impossible with what they're doing.
Yeah, but they're not. I mean, we're just not supposed to be in this position. We should be building, healing, stuff like that, and they're just not doing it.
No, we're far from it. We're far from any of that. I mean, there's no, they're suppressing everything. The economy, to me, is very fragile. It's very unstable. There's not. What did I hear today? And correct me if I'm wrong. That Biden's building a fence or something around some property of his. That's where the building is. Or they tell you Build Back Better is what that's for. That's where you'll get your building. That's how we're going to be prosperous. But I really appreciate it so much for you coming on. I haven't heard from you in a while.
Yes. Great time. I just want to come by and salute. You know what I mean? You are my favorite conservative. You're doing a great job. Yes, you are.
Well, I appreciate it, old head deuce. And tell everybody, shout out to Miss Latin Patriot. Tell us where we can find you with wherever you are, because, we'll break this up, a little bit, because sometimes I want to talk about AI. Sometimes I want to talk about, and I really want to talk about AI because I'm kind of getting on.
Oh yeah. AI is, AI is, you gotta look at who's making it.
That's true.
Is it going to be rammed down our throats like not cell phones, but the technology, the voice tech? Like, I can't take this voice stuff off my phone. This what do you call it when you tell the phone, hey, look up something? The voice, whatever.
The voice activation with
Bixby or whatever. Yeah, Bixby or Alexis or something like that. I can't turn it off in my phone. So are they going to be pushing this robots on us? The same?
Well, we talked about the other night how there's an AI Bill of Rights underway, and
they haven't even introduced robots to the society yet, but yet they have a Bill of Rights for robots. Now, you should watch the Animatrix.
You said Animatrix?
The Animatrix. It's a matrix, but it's an anime. You should watch that. It's gonna
I'll look it up.
It's gonna mess your head up for about a week, right? But then you'll see why I talk the way I talk.
So what are you, like Morpheus?
No,
Morpheus.
I'm not in the Matrix either side. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm a everything across the street kind of guy.
Okay.
All that across the street.
Well, we'll do our best. But I appreciate you so much for coming on, and I'm going to take a quick break and come right back. Joseph Francis Burton says Animaniacs.
No, anime. It's called the Animatrix. Animatrix.
Animatrix, like let me see if I spell it like anime, and then
Matrix. Animatrix.
Like this. I'm putting
you guys
it in
haven't seen it?
like that.
Boy, oh boy. Yes.
Animatrix.
Yes. That was out between I believe between Matrix 1 and 2, and the Matrix came out, and it was dealing with AI. Oh yeah, but
Okay.
that's
Well,
all I'm gonna say.
yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, when you watch, it's gonna mess your head up for a week. Okay, you will be okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Have a good
All right.
weekend. All
Thank you
right.
so
Peace out.
much. All right,
Mhm.
guys. Thank you, Old Head Deuce. Ladies and gentlemen, Old Head Deuce. Thank you so much, Old Head Deuce. And I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to go to the Zoom call, and that will be our final piece. Our final piece there. Let me get a comment here from Anarchy Television. Says the government doesn't have anything to give that it doesn't take from others. And he also says, from what I understand, how the story goes, the Terminator is the predecessor of the Matrix. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to get to these clips, and then I'm going to get you out of here so you can go and do if you haven't had your dosage of bread bowls and entertainment, you'll get to do it right after this. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that like, unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. All right, so I'm going to take you guys to our last segment in this stream, and I will be saying salute to everyone. And just FYI, there is a link out there for those of you who may be interested, or maybe next time. All right, guys, so we're going to go to. I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay, and we've shared this before, but I'm going to do it right now. This is from what I consider the clandestine Zoom call between the civil rights leaders on the agenda and minorities. And this is something that I cross-referenced in my Politico argument the other day on the division that they say Biden is doing between the Hispanic serving institutions and the HBCUs. So let's get on with it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to start us in a section where you can kind of hear the tone, and it'll take you to the end here. Thank you.
Diverse hiring, not only in women and men, as it's looking like now.
Sorry. One more time.
I have as, the Secretary of Treasury, Janet Yellen, but at number 2 is Wally Adeyemo, an African-American, who is the number 2 guy with real authority at that department. Look underneath just what we're doing in addition to the people we've already named. You're going to see people, look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I named her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real. It's real. So all I'm saying is look at us, judge us based on what we do. You're going to see more coming your way. And not only that, within the White House as well. Cedric is the best. Cedric's been with me from the beginning. And Cedric is going to be overseeing a great deal of this, and not all his responsibility, but he's in every single meeting. He's an assistant to the president. He's in every single meeting in the White House, period. And so what we're going to be doing here is making sure that we have diverse hiring, not only and for the main cabinet position and the sub-cabinet positions, but down the line. It's going to make a big difference, and within the White House as well. Assistant to the president, there's only 6 of those slots. It matters. And by the way, I think you're going to see, I always kid Kamala by say this, but we're going to have more women than men, as it's looking like now. Okay, that's good, because I'm surrounded by women smarter than me, starting off with my wife and my sister. But all kidding aside, this is going to be fully across the board. I'm going to keep the commitment that I said. And here's the thing, and Al, Reverend Al, I think you're right about this. It matters what a president says. And if you notice, I am not mincing my words when I speak about what I plan on doing as president of the United States. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not engaging in retribution. I am not deciding that the way to win is to go after hate with hate. We have to convince people. We have to move them. And one of the overwhelming reasons I won, by the way, is because we took on racism in suburbia. White women overwhelmingly voted with me, and black women were the 2 places where it was overwhelming, because we spoke to those concerns. And Vanita, you know what I'm talking about. You and I have talked before. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know. Anybody you know of getting things accomplished. And that sounds so self-serving. I know that, but this is going to really be hard. This is going to really be hard. And let me conclude and turn it over to Kamala, who says, what the hell am I doing with this guy right now? But all kidding aside, I've known you my whole life, most of you. I've worked with you my whole life, most of you. I've been around doing this for a long time. I don't always get it right, but I always take responsibility. When I get it wrong, I acknowledge I got it wrong. But my overarching objective, if we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do in terms of raw numbers. We're going to have to be working with a whole group of people that in fact are the single most diverse democracy in American history and anywhere in the world. And we got to figure out how to unify this country. And you've been the leaders of being able to do that. Not a joke. And so there's some things that I'm going to be able to do by executive order. I'm not going to hesitate to do it. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do what used to, Vanita, you probably used to get angry with me during the debates, when you'd have some of the people you were supporting say, on day one, I'm going to executive order to do this. Not within the constitutional authority. I am not going to violate the Constitution. Executive authority that my progressive friends talk about is way beyond the bounds. And as one of you said, maybe you, Reverend Al, well, whether it's far left or far right, there is a Constitution. It's our only hope, our only hope. And the way to deal with it is where I have executive authority, I will use it to undo every single damn thing this guy has done by executive authority. But I'm not going to exercise executive authority where it's questioned, where I can come along and say, I can do away with assault weapons. There's no executive authority to do away with that. And no one's fought harder to get rid of assault weapons than me. But you can't do it by executive order. If you do that, next guy comes along and says, well, guess what? By executive order, I'm going to say everybody can own machine guns again. So we got to be careful. I know you all know this. I know you know it. and poor Kamala's heard me say this, and so has Cedric. I used to have a friend named Bob Gold, who was a really bright guy, not much of it. We went to school together. He wasn't an academic whiz, but bright as hell. And as he grew up, he became very successful. And I look at him, he died of a heart transplant. And about 20 years ago, I said to him, Bob, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you understand me? He looked at me and said, Joe, I not only understand you, I overstand you. I'm sure you overstand me here. I desperately want to work with each of you. And I promise you, you will have access to us on a regular basis. And any emergency, you'll have access to us. We got to figure out a way how to regularly see to it we can do it as a group like we're doing now.
Okay. I'm going to stop it right there because I think, he pretty much got into the points in which I was referring to. And I see all kinds of contradictions and hypocrisies there, all kinds of, things that did not hold true before, and they're certainly not true right now. Okay. So that's the context for me talking about the citing in the Politico article when they talked about representation, the Hispanic representation and them serving Hispanic serving institutions versus the numbers in the HBCUs. So now the numbers game is being played, and now they want to talk about, representation and growing representation. And look what happens when you grow representation. Look how they're growing the representation. Just look at the border. I mean, this is all, to me, I think it's all linked, that there's correlations in just about everything economically. So that's where I got, that was part of my reference the other night. But basically telling Blacks, look, I've done all I can do. I've done all I'm going to do in the past. I'm such a champion for civil rights. I've done all I can do. You better hitch your wagon to the Hispanic community because they have a bigger representation than you do. And right now it's certainly times whatever. It's even more than that by now, I'm sure, because we don't know where anybody is. We don't have any real numbers to work with. We go with what the state media says. That's what you got, unless you dig deeper for more. So that's kind of what I was on about the other night. So for those of you that are like, what is she talking about, this clandestine meeting? So there it is. It's actually on my community. It's on the community tab as well. So, but yeah, I'm much of it before. I even think this guy, Derek Johnson, I think of the NAACP, has talked about how, that we've voted for a failing agenda before, or failing representation before. And okay, so you're admitting to failure. Okay. But these are not my representatives. I didn't elect any of these people. NAACP is a liberal organization, just like many other these organizations. So, he doesn't represent me, nor does his, nor when he makes blanket statements like that. Because I didn't vote for anybody. I'm not one of these people that says, I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils. We can agree that evil is evil, right? So why vote for evil? Why vote for evil? If you really think something's evil, why do it? So, but this is what they do. They like to get people together and tell you who your leaders are, by hook or crook. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. So I'm going to go through right now and say salute to everybody that came in, and thank you for my panel guests, Miss Latin Patriot. It's nice to hear from you, as well as Old Head Deuce. And Old Head Deuce, maybe I'm not too annoying around here. Easy with the labels, easy. So thank you guys so much for coming in. All right, so let's start from the top, shall we? Yeah, we have quite a few people to get in. We had Jermaine G, as always. Thank you, Jermaine G. And Tyrant's Bane TDOA is here. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in and supporting the channel. And also Luciano was here. And Luciano, I missed a comment here. You said that Baldwin may be facing charges. We'll have to look into that. Thank you for that. Joseph Francis Burton, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the channel the way that you do, and for your inspiring videos. I'm behind, but I will get caught up. And Cybertoxin. Cybertoxin says, is Lesko there? Somewhere. You know what? It's funny you say that, because I was thinking that I've never done a reaction video. But I figure there's so many double meanings in the chorus there. So yeah, Lesko is probably around here. It's not far. Yeah. You know, they're trying to ban it and put it under a dog pile of, of searches. Who else do we have? Zero the Infinite. Thank you so much for coming in. Do a little housekeeping. Thank you for that. And Zero the Infinite said, conspiracy theorist nowadays is a code used to identify a right-wing extremist. Yikes. Okay, who else do we have? We had Old Head Deuce. Thank you so much, Old Head Deuce, for coming in. And yeah, and then Miss Latin Patriot, and I had somebody else that was in. Backyard Politics was here. Thank you, Backyard Politics, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Reasonability was here. And DJ Vision Barnett was here. Thank you for coming in. And Anarchy Television. Thank you, Anarchy, for coming in. I appreciate it. You've been around for a while. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do something, I don't know, for the veterans on this, dare I say the veterans on this page, for those of you that have been around for 1 year, I don't know, 1 year, 6 months to a year and a half. Thank you for coming back. This is not the pay, congratulations. This is not the paywall channel. It's not. And who else do we have? And the reference that we got from Old Head Deuce to check out Animatrix. So I'll try to see what that's about. If you guys have any recommendations on movies or cultural influences or social engineering. But the AI is something that I really want to get into, and I will get into it. And I'm going to do that from Schwab's Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm going to try to cross-reference. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard anything out there about 3D printing in terms of, automobiles, whether it's 3D imprinting on heart transplants, that kind of a bit, designer babies. This is party of Davos. They've got their own, as Biden referenced in his own Zoom call, sub cabinets. I mean, there's all kinds of committees, but the World Economic Forum is basically where he's getting his research and his numbers from. So it's kind of, it's a little creepy, a little wicked, but a lot wicked to me. But that's where these references are coming from. These trends, mega trends, whatever they call them, tipping trends, are coming from when it comes to AI. But I don't know. To me, AI, to Old Head's point, I do believe that we're going to have an AI invasion, and you're not going to know. It's already happening. It's already happening. So I'm going to read a couple comments here. This Latin Patriot says, BSW, what other platforms are you streaming on? Can you put the link in the chat? What is it? LBRY? Is it LBRY? And then there's Odyssey. Those are, and I'm going to be adding the Discord. And I think somebody was sending me an email. I think it was Angry Conservative. So yeah, I'm not on Rumble or Gab. Let's see if I can get this one for you. I'll put something out there. So you kind of get to mirror yourself mirror yourself on some of these platforms. I think that LBRY or Odyssey allows you to do that. So let me just put that there for you. Here's that. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not doing anything per se there. Not really. I'm surprised that people that are still on Twitter are still on Twitter. What else do we have? So yes, I'm also on Twitch. Twitch is the other one. The Twitch Drive is still, I think it's still important. So maybe we'll bring that up again. But I want to thank you guys so much for coming in as always. And as one other comment here. Well, this is Joseph Francis Burton says, by April, Biden already ordered racially preferred farm loans struck down almost immediately. And Anarchy Television says, black, white, Hispanic doesn't matter. If you look at Biden's track record, he's not for any of us, without a doubt. Right. And that's why I'm saying it's, to me, that was a Politico article in which, they want to say it's just look at these two groups and what he's doing. It's going to be an American problem because we're all going to, it's whether people want to call it, they want to call it migration, which is, migration is not legal according to what international law used to say. I don't know what they're doing with any laws anymore, but we're all going to be pit there. They will pit any of us against any of us when it comes economically. So I think this is racism leads to, economic decline for everybody at the end of the day. Sorry. So yeah, so I appreciate you guys as always for coming in. And of course, I'll see you on the next live stream in the comment section on a video. The minute I get the Discord going, I will put that on the community tab. I have some other stuff from Patrick to put on the community tab anyway. So I'll probably plug those in a little while. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and have a great rest of your Saturday evening, or enjoy the bread bowls remaining between now and tomorrow. All right, guys.